Welcome to Search Talk Live with search engine optimization and marketing experts Robert O'Haver and Caleb McKelvin, powered by the Robert Palmer family of companies.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Search Talk Live. Great show today. We got coming on a special guest from one of the newest and, well, I wouldn't say it's too new, but it's a pretty new platform out there for social media. Hold on. Sorry. With me today, my special guest, my co-host, Caleb McKelvin. Caleb?
Hey, how you doing, Rob? How's it going?
Good, man. Getting mixed up here.
Very good. Awesome show today. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
Before we do get started, shout out to my Alabama Crimson Tide for winning the national championship. Roll Tide. I'll go ahead and get that out of the way. Pretty excited about that.
If it's your first time watching on or listening to Search Talk Live, we're a search engine marketing, search engine optimization, social media. We cover it all here on the show. We try to invite in guests of, on different platforms and different services offered out there, and even Google and all kinds of stuff. But you can. We're here every Tuesday from 3:30 to 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can download us on iTunes. You can catch us on Spreaker, Twitter, everywhere. We're all over the place. But our special guest today with us is, I just lost him. There he is. Yeah, okay. Our special guest today with us is the co-founder of Blab, Shaan Puri. Shaan, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Good, man.
Doing great. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome to the show. I keep getting people trying to get in on a seat. Lock the seat. There we go. All right. So it was a little distracting, but Shaan, I want to talk about Blab. We want to talk about how it got started and maybe go about what the plans in the future for it are, and maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got started.
Sounds good. You want me to address all of that or pick one of them and get started?
Let's start from when you were first born. No, just kidding. No, I'm kidding. No, let's start out when you started out. Where do you want to start?
Well, the real thing is the idea of Blab, how it came to back, kind of how y'all got that started, and what was the idea behind it, and what was the vision for it, because it's a pretty awesome platform. Because we just kind of want to hear from you, what was the idea and the drive behind the platform?
For us, it was pretty simple. We wanted to make a public broadcasting system. So, once upon a time, there was mass media where a few people decided what everybody else gets to read, watch, hear. And now that's not really the case anymore. Now, it's not mass media, it's the media of the masses. Now anybody can push a button and go live. You guys can go live. You guys talk about, you can talk about SEO, you can talk about search, you can talk about to other founders,
right? And
you can create your own show. And so what we wanted to do was make that possible, make it easy, make it simple, and make it something where when you push the button, you really feel like you're interacting with an audience, you're interacting with people,
right? Instead
of just being in a room and recording something alone and hoping that someday some people will listen to this or like this.
Right.
Yeah, I stumbled upon it by accident, and I fell in love with it the first time I used it. And it's one thing I find very cool is that you guys are constantly updating this thing. It's like every time I'm on, I see something new or a new feature, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, our team is obsessed. So we have one trait we look for when we hire you, which is A, are you already obsessed with Blab? Or B, do you have...
Oh, you're cutting out on us.
Uh-oh.
Shaan, is he still on?
The traits of somebody who becomes what's normal for people in that field. So we've had people who are, they previously got super into video games, or they, quit college and went and played poker professionally. People who have gone all in on something. Mm-hmm. And when you have a team that goes all in, you'll get the type of speed of, rapid iteration that we get with Blab. So that's why you see new stuff all the time, is because we're obsessed.
Yeah. Well, it's fantastic. I use it weekly now. I'm on,
yeah.
Yeah. So, and
I mean, one of the things I said, being into SEO, being into digital marketing, and especially content marketing and link building, it's all about networking. It's all about reaching an audience. It's all about building those relationships. And you guys just kind of put us on the fast track to that, because no more do we have to, worry about who we're talking to or, what we're communicating. We can actually get face-to-face, build those relationships, build that network, and just grow it from there, kind of on the fast track.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a network is key, right? So you want to build an audience. We all want to build an audience. Why? Because we've got opinions, we've got thoughts, we want to be heard. And so there's many different ways to do that, and this is one of them.
Sorry, technical difficulty.
Yeah.
Okay, can you repeat that? I didn't hear you. I didn't have my headphones on. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, a network is key. People want to be heard. They want to have a place to share their opinions, their thoughts, their ideas. And there's many ways to do that, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
Some people do it by blogging. Some people do it by tweeting. Some people do it by speaking at events. We decided to make something that was perfect for people who love to blab, who love to talk, right? People who have opinions they want to share.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you started this, 2014? Is that correct?
15. So we started it in about March, April-ish of 2015.
Okay. Because I saw a startup, you were on stage and you were holding it was a mobile app version. I don't remember what that was from, but it was you were presenting it. It looked totally different, and you called it Blab, but I don't know. Anyway, did it start on a mobile platform? Or
that was a totally different product called Blab that we had built. So we had actually built a company called Blab, grew it to a few 100,000 users, but we realized pretty quickly with that one that it wasn't different enough than what was out there. It was very similar to Snapchat.
Okay.
And so we ended up pivoting away from that. And when we came up with this idea, we actually thought Blab was a good name, a name that we already owned. So why not continue on with that?
Yeah, that's great. So tell us a little bit where you got started, where you kind of how you got into the tech world.
Almost by accident. So before this, I started a sushi restaurant. I did a biotech venture in Australia. In my college education, I was pre-med. So, software or tech, it was not in my roadmap. But that's the funny thing about roadmaps and plans is that they rarely turn out how you plan. So I always figured that I'd be an improviser. And so this was one of those improvisations where after my last startup in Australia looked like it was getting sold to an Indian company, a company in India called Reliance, I didn't want to be living in India. I was 24 years old. I thought it was too soon to move to India and do a field project out there for a few years to see if our technology would work. So I left that company and I decided to move to Silicon Valley to see what all the fuss is about. And I joined an incubator here in Silicon Valley, an idea lab where it's called Monkey Inferno. And basically there was a guy, his name's Michael. He had sold his company to AOL for about $850 million. Wow. And after he sold Bebo to AOL, he decided to open up his own idea lab. He didn't need other investors. He hired up his own team and he said, we will dream up ideas and we will build them. So that's what I joined. And I joined as just product manager early on. And then I got promoted to CEO shortly after that. Wow.
Now, since the launch of Blab, it's been in beta. Do you? How long are you planning on keeping that into beta? Is that indefinite?
Yeah, I mean, Blab is very much a work in progress, and so you'll notice we change things all the time right now because we're tweaking, we're tinkering, and we're getting this thing ready for showtime. So what that does for us is two things. One, it attracts the right type of people. So putting beta right there up by the name sets the right expectations. So people who are looking for a finished, polished product, this is not the product for you right now.
Right.
This is for people who like being early adopters. They like being the first ones to try things. They like seeing things when when the cement is still a little wet, and where their input can actually help influence where this goes. So calling it beta helps us attract the right people.
Yeah, and you also get a lot of valuable feedback to improve.
That's one of the things is, are y'all taking this feedback and y'all going to help take that where Blab is going to go and kind of let them dictate kind of the finished product?
Yeah, so we have a pretty simple principle, which is you listen, but you do not obey. So listen for us means, this is a public product. I can sit in on blabs from people all around the world, and I can observe how they're using it. I can learn from the things that they're trying. And you'll see us incorporate, when we see users kind of manually finding a way to do something, sometimes we automate that because we learn from them that, hey, this should be a part of the process.
Yeah.
And then many people are vocal because they have something that is really specific to their needs. And that's the case where we listen and we note it, but we don't necessarily implement it, much to their frustration at times.
Gotcha. Are y'all waiting to kind of fine tune Blab before you go to like the mobile platforms like, Android?
Well, we're on iPhone right now. So on iOS, people can use it, and they do use it every single day. For Android, yeah, we're waiting till we've nailed it on 2 platforms before opening up a third, because it's much better to do it well and than to have it out there but not really be able to support it or maintain it, right, or keep up with all the different changes we're making across all the different platforms.
Gotcha. Okay. Caleb, you got something?
Very good. No, I mean, what type of feedback have y'all been getting? I mean, has it been pretty positive? Are people having a good experience with it? I mean, is there any specific feedback in general y'all are getting?
People are hooked, man. There's
I am.
I can understand it.
People in a group on Facebook called Blabaholics that they've created and joined, right? Like, there's the average daily active user spends an hour watching Blab every day. So it's really replacing routines in many cases. People, instead of going home and watching Netflix, they prefer to watch something more specific to their interests, right? In this case, I might watch this because it's actually helping me get better at what I do. Or I might be watching something about the NBA because there's 4 guys from ESPN that jump on and they talk hoops. And for me, that's what I want instead of something that's generic that's on TV. So we see people getting hooked, and that's the feedback that gives us the confidence that we have. You'll notice that our team is very confident because we have the signals, we have the data, but we also have the feedback.
Right.
Yep. I run it in the background when I'm working. So
yeah.
But now, is it eventual? Are you guys going to try some kind of monetization for the site? Or, I mean, because that's one thing, obviously I don't want to sound like you're investors, but is that something that you're looking at doing in the future?
Yeah, of course, right? We want to make money eventually, right? Daddy needs a new watch. Right?
So, exactly.
But the way we'll do it is going to be different than how most people assume, right? Mm-hmm. Sort of the thing most people assume is, they're going to start charging us to broadcast, which makes sense, right? It does cost money to host these broadcasts. But for what we're going for the vision that we have, it would make no sense to charge broadcasters, nor would it make sense to charge the viewers to watch. So what we want to do is do it like TV. Have a big enough audience so that when you look at Blab, we should have more eyeballs than all of cable TV combined. And so we want to get to that level of scale and then figure out how can we use advertising, how can we use fan funding to actually not only pay us, but pay the creators as well. I have one rule for monetization, and that rule is when we get paid, the creators get paid.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right now, we're not getting paid, and so in that case, neither do the creators, and we're all doing it for the love of the game right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you, so you're going to be having some kind, it's almost like a YouTube where you do have a creator, where you pay creators
Yeah, I envision us having
rev share. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I envision us having a partner program at some point where, if you're a consistent creator, and you shouldn't get paid.
Right.
Yeah. Now, when y'all were first getting this started and kind of coming up with these ideas, did you look at other video chat services like Hangouts and Skype and other ones and kind of say, well, how are we going to compete or how are we going to set ourselves apart? And kind of what was the mindset with that?
Can you hear us, Shaan?
Yeah, I can hear him. For us, how are we going to? We looked at those other platforms to learn, in many cases, what not to do. Right? If you're building something new and you're building something that's never existed before, then there's no playbook to copy. So what you can do is look at who's tried something in this space. Where do we think they went wrong? And how should we fix it? And so that's what we did. We looked at Hangouts, for example. A quick example is if you look at Hangouts, they put one person big on the screen and everybody else is sort of small and out of view. And then when somebody laughs, they jump on the screen. And when somebody coughs, they jump on the screen.
Right.
And, it's a very disjointed conversation compared to the layout we chose here. It's not just designed for look's sake. It actually has a function, right? I want to see your facial expression while I'm responding to your question. That actually is what makes a conversation work. And so when we built this product, we were very conscious of things that we thought do not work in other platforms.
Right. Now, we've got some questions, Shaan. We got any chance on giving Blab a global focus? I think he does.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? The beauty of this type of communication is that you've got people all around the world. One of the reasons I put the map in this screen is that it's amazing for me to say, man, I'm just sitting in San Francisco, but there's people literally, I look at this map right now, there's people in Africa watching us with this Blab. There's somebody, if you go all the way, I don't even know what that is. Is that Tasmania? Outside of Australia. Somebody's watching from there. That's an amazing thing. And so I believe that we started with a global focus. Now, it doesn't mean we have a global user base right now, because it kind of starts with the early influencers, early adopters that we first contacted. But this should be a global product if it's done well.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. All right. Now, if you want to call in with your questions, you can call the show at 855-722-0006. Again, the number's 855-722-0006. And that's option 1. And you're listening to Search Talk Live. We're sponsored by the Robert Palmer family of companies. Yes, and that's Robert Palmer Companies.com. Thank you.
Yes, there we go.
My sign's covered up. I couldn't remember. But anyway, yeah. So you got something else, Caleb?
You guys are still doing this the old school way.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, got the podcast going. I think we have a couple more questions on the sidebar. How far do you plan to go in using the TV Showtime theme?
Cool. So the question is, how far do you plan on going using the TV Showtime thing, or the TV analogy?
Yes.
So having a show guide, having channels, having all that stuff. You'll see elements of that borrowed. I mean, nothing ever translates literally, and so you don't want to exactly copy something that's done offline and say it'll be done online the same exact way. No, it's a different medium. It's a different technology. There's different opportunities that exist. But we can make it a lot easier for you to find stuff you're interested in, find things that are upcoming that you're going to be interested in, find things that you just missed and watch, a clip from it, or watch the whole replay.
Yeah.
Those are all things that we're going to do that we've learned from TV.
Oh,
okay.
Nice.
And Caleb, you read off the questions? Sorry.
Yeah.
Working on something.
Let's see here. Here's a good one. Recently, the UFC tweeted a link to Blab to have a kind of a Q&A session. Are y'all kind of working with larger corporations? Did they come to you, or is just that kind of random?
Yeah, so it's been organic thus far. So the head of digital from UFC, she was using Blab herself. She liked it. She got more comfortable with it over time. We did a Q&A with one of the heavyweight champions, the light heavyweight champion, Daniel Cormier. So he came on and he was doing Q&A with fans. And then they decided to do one with Dana White, who's the commissioner of the UFC. So as they got more comfortable with the tool, they saw more opportunities where they might use it. In that case, we actually had some technical difficulties because they were broadcasting from a hotel room that had pretty bad Wi-Fi, and they had four computers connected to it, all on the same account. And then there was, nearly 1,000 people live in the room. So that combination of events did not go well, which again, for us, I have a pretty simple motto, which is, you either win or you learn. And that was definitely one that we had to learn from of, okay, how do we prevent this, from happening again? How do you make it where if somebody is on low connectivity or they are in a hotel room with 4 computers connected to the same account, how do you make sure that it doesn't fall over?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And the next question is, are there any new features coming to Blab that you can share?
So that question's from Eileen, who's one of our power users. Sneaky
Right.
Eileen, trying to get some new feature scoop out of this. No, there's nothing I can announce just yet. So we'll have to wait till one of the Blab town halls to see what's coming. I got a question for you guys. What do your listeners want to hear? Why do people listen to Search Talk Live? What do they hope to get out of it?
Oh, very good question.
I don't know. No, I'm kidding. No, we Search Talk Live. We're SEO experts and pay-per-click experts and social media. We do it all. We've been doing it for a long time. So we give advice, tips. We invite people in, you're in the social media space.
Yeah.
So
we're all about educating on digital marketing. And so our listeners like to tune in. We like, whether it's a small business owner, somebody trying to get involved, started in the SEO industry, or, a major national global business owner. We kind of have all of the above. And so they're all about how they can better their digital marketing efforts, their content strategy, content marketing, their branding, reputation management. So we cover a large range.
Yeah, those of you that can't hear, I'm sorry. He's having some problems getting in. But if you go to searchtalklive.com, you can listen to us live there if you're having trouble hearing us. Yeah, so I mean that's basically what we do. We like to help other people. We've been doing it for a while, and we've got quite a good following, and yeah, that's that's it.
Cool. So small businesses who are interested in digital marketing, and what that really means is that they're interested in getting more customers, right?
Yes.
They think they have a good product to offer, and they want to offer it to more people. They want more butts in the seats, more people come through the door, right? Yeah. So my message to them, because if I'm listening to this, I'm always wondering, what's in it for me, right? Why should I listen to this guy? Right. Why should I care about Blab and all the features and the functionality and all that? And at the end of the day, the reason why they should care is because one of the best ways to get new customers is to give them something first and ask for something later. And we've seen this with blogging, right? We've seen this with content marketing, where people realize that, hey, when I give out some insights, when I help some people out, when I give out some tips, when I bring on someone interesting to do an interview with, and people get access to somebody they never had access to before, all of a sudden, by giving, I'm able to build a relationship with an audience who, and not under the context of sales. And by the time they learn about you, they want to learn about you. They'll want to know who's the one who's given me all this good info. Who's the one who's teaching me how to do better at what I do. Right. It's what you guys are doing with this show right now, right? So for people who are out there, you don't need to think of yourself as a host or as a talk show host or as a podcaster or a blogger or a writer. The idea is not to be a great writer or a great speaker. It's about sharing what you know with people who are interested, who could benefit from it. Yeah. Building that relationship first, and then maybe you're able to do business later, or maybe not, and being okay with that. So one of the reasons to use Blab is it's a one-of-a-kind way to actually put that information out there, but actually interact with those people. Because how many times have you written a blog post, and it may get 1,000 reads? You don't know who those people are. Right. And they have no connection to you. They came, and transactionally, they just read it, and they left. Whereas you watch 2 minutes of somebody live streaming, or they answer your question, or they accept your call in, you know who they are. That's a real relationship. You've talked face to face at that point. Yeah. And so it's a deeper way to do that same thing, of get the word out there, become known for what you know. Yeah. That's why I would use Blab if I was one of your listeners.
Right. And it's a great sounding board for, experts or people that are trying to be of an influence and help other people. I mean, we started this whole show to begin with because this is early when we started doing these helping things, is because, when Penguin and Panda, those search algorithms for Google came out and people were getting hit and all this kind of stuff. So we kind of came out and said, look, some of these people are innocent in this and they don't realize what's going on. So we wanted to help people because there were so many people getting hurt from it, and just not being educated, basically. Yeah. So we came out and said, hey, let's help these people. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is a great platform.
And look, these tools are important because.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, in your day-to-day life, the people, my friends who I hang out with, my sister, my brother, they may not care about search as much as I care about search, right? Because it's very specific. It's something that's, one of my passions, one of my interests. So one of the things that the internet is really good at is it introduces people, you to people who are just as weird as you, people who are just as into that thing that you're into, and you're not limited by geography. You're not limited by who you happen to bump into that day or who you happen to be friends with. In this case, you're able to learn and connect with some people who they may be on the other side of the world, but you got a lot in common if you kind of get down to it.
Right.
Yep. So I mean, a lot of our listeners are webmasters and SEOs and all this stuff. We all use platforms like this. Yeah. Emil, one of my friends here, we do every week, helping other people with website owners and stuff like that. We use Blab to do it. I mean, it's just a great platform. You get Q&A and all that stuff. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all about amplification of your brand, of your content, of what you can provide people. And what better way to do it than hopping in, being able to interact with others that, just like you said, carry the same enthusiasm as you do about that specific topic, and able to share that with a wide range with no limitations on where people are located and who you can reach on a geographical standpoint. And so, I mean, from an SEO standpoint, this is an awesome tool to use, and one I'm so happy that y'all decided to come up with it put the time and work into it, because I've been able to network from my standpoint, and it enhances my strategy and it as a whole new tool in it. So it's awesome. If you are into SEO and digital marketing, Blab is definitely something you must check out and use and have in your bag of tools to use, and on a daily basis you're going to need to use it. So.
Wow. I'll get that check from you later, Shaan. But do you think we have some more questions from people in the listening on the Blab. Do you think Blab is the future of TV, radio, and other media platforms?
Of course.
Yeah.
Look, the internet is really good at taking systems that are centralized, controlled by a few people. They have, big barriers to entry. Like, I can't just start a newspaper. I don't have the distribution. I can't just create a television channel about the thing that I'm interested in. I don't have a channel. I can't get in the pipe. And so the internet is the ultimate equalizer, right? It's the thing that democratizes everything. Right. And so you'll see, I mean, what's one of the biggest publications today? We've got the Washington Post going out of business and BuzzFeed taking off because someone decided they were going to make content like BuzzFeed. Yep. Like it or hate it, that democracy, the ability for anybody to be able to push a button and broadcast, anyone to push a button and publish their thoughts, that is the ultimate equalizer. So do I see it as the future? Yes, not because we're building it. We're building it because we saw it as the future and we said, hey, why not us be the ones to build it?
Right.
It's not the other way around where we're building it and thus we think, hey, this maybe is the future. We believe that already. That's why we're deciding to build it.
Yeah. All right. Another question is, are there certain industries that Blab does not work best for?
Maybe the drug industry. I don't know. I like one of my favorite examples, right? And even speaking of drugs, pharmaceuticals. So one of the top users the last couple of days has been a guy named Martin Shkreli. Do you know who he is?
No,
can't say I do.
He is. If you Googled most hated man, he would come up in the top of the list. He is a 32-year-old CEO of a pharmaceutical company. And he got, tons of bad press because his pharmaceutical company, Turing, they bought a drug, and they jacked up the price. They raised the price, 100x or something like that. And so the media painted this guy as the ultimate asshole, right? This guy who, he took a drug that was saving people's lives, and he jacked up the price, and now people won't be able to get it. And what I'm most interested in is not, is Martin a good guy or a bad guy? It's the fact that he came on, and he was able to take on questions, comments, criticism directly from people who said, why would you do that? How can you justify this? How can you wake up in the morning having done this? And he would explain. He would say, hey, here's what the two options were. Hey, here's what we were thinking and why I think that's okay and why you may not understand what's actually going on here. And again, whether you agree or disagree, the ability for anyone without a middleman to address the public, to put their thoughts forward, to address criticism, that's such a powerful thing. I can't wait to see more companies make announcements on here because they don't need to submit a press release to a journalist and hope that the journalist writes the right story. They could just come on here and tell their audience themselves. Yeah. And then the journalist will be cut out. And so I believe that, when you take out a middleman, that's a very, very powerful thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's when you take a step back and really look at that, that's huge. I mean, is that something y'all had in mind when y'all were thinking this thing out? Is big brands, we're talking about big companies, can actually go on here and either brand reputation, repair their brand, connect directly. You got Twitter and people will tweet at you. I mean, I do it all the time when my cell phone service sucks. Hey, my cell phone service sucks. What are you going to do about it? Was that something, but, they might not respond. They might, whatever. If I can actually get on here and people can answer my questions directly, that's huge, and have that immediate interaction. Is that something y'all had as a vision for this? Or, once you saw this thing going, you really said, hey, it can be this?
So I believe that most people who paint themselves as visionaries are full of shit. And the reason why I say that is, even the biggest products today, some of the most world-changing products today, they didn't necessarily start out with that ambition. I call it progressive ambition. As you get bigger, you realize you can actually increase the size of your ambition.
Yeah.
So Facebook, which started off as a Harvard-based kind of social network where you could see what classes your friends are taking. Now today, Facebook is literally flying drones and hot air balloons, giving people internet in third world countries that have never had the internet before, right? They're getting progressively more ambitious, almost frighteningly ambitious. And we're the same way. We just thought it would be interesting if we took something that was always private, right? A Skype call, a Google Hangout, a FaceTime. It's always private. What if you made it public? Like, what if I could have a seat at the table for conversations that I would otherwise never have a part of, never have been a part of, maybe because they don't know me or they wouldn't invite me.
Right.
So some of my favorite blabs are there's two CEOs who get on every day and they talk it's called work in progress. They just talk about what's going on in their business, but they decided to do it publicly so that others could learn from what they're learning from. And so when we just thought it would be an interesting social dynamic to have these things that are always been private to make them public, these conversations that are always locked in a phone or Skype or FaceTime, make them public. But once we did it, we started getting approached by these brands to say, hey, I'm going to do an announcement. How much traffic can your site handle? Or, hey, I'm going to invite 500 journalists and I'm going to make the press release here live on Blab. And if they want to ask questions, if a journalist wants to ask questions, they can ask it right here in front of everyone else.
Wow.
Because for those people, it's a press conference for somebody who wouldn't otherwise have a press conference.
Right.
It's access for people who otherwise don't have access. So we got more ambitious as we've been going, and I anticipate that happening more and more. I didn't think brands would ever use a beta product like this.
That's exciting, dude. Wait till you go live.
Yeah, I mean, it's just in beta mode. Once you actually have the full complete, I mean, sky's the limit.
Yeah. Will the blabs ever be will you ever be able to have a private blab? I mean, if you wanted to have a group of certain people and that type of thing.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. So we don't want to make private the focus, but as we've learned from users, we figured out, hey, there might be some use cases where maybe you want to have it be unlisted, and it's only the people I share the link with, or only the people I embed on my site. So it's a gradient. It's not just private or public. There's things in between. Maybe it's not password protected, but maybe it is unlisted. So we've talked about those things, but they'll come as we grow. We always want to work on the core first, and our core is public. And so we got to get the core right before we expand to these other kind of like smaller use cases.
Yeah, yep. Gotcha. All right, and Emil, we kind of answered this question, but are you thinking of possibly publishers sharing revenue program like YouTube has with ads or not? I think he kind of answered that one.
Yeah, like I said earlier, when we get paid, the creators need to get paid. So when we start running ads, that should be putting money in the creators' pockets as well.
Yeah. The next question I'm not sure on. Let's see. Would you consider having TV shows on Blab like Netflix or others?
I'm not sure what that means. I don't know how you would have a TV show on here. But
there's licensing and all kinds of issues there. All right, let's see. New problem with
Blab is for conversations, right? So
yeah.
Maybe people talking about TV shows, but not necessarily just
streaming.
TV show playing on Blab.
You're right.
Okay.
Spreecast. I'm not sure what Spreecast
Are you
is.
going to partner with any major internet providers? I don't know what you mean by that.
I'm not sure. It's not something we've ever talked about or thought about.
So, I mean, is your ultimate goal, I mean, like, has Jack Dorsey called you yet? Says, hey, I love your platform. It works great with Twitter. Are you going to...
Jack himself hasn't called.
Okay.
He must have lost my number.
Yeah.
But no, we've had some interesting conversations. But for us, our focus is just to build this damn thing, right? Heads down, build it for what we think it can be. And so we try not to get too distracted by other conversations or interested people.
Yeah, because I mean, not to get off base, but Twitter is really looking for ways to grab more people, and your platform is just it. And it's growing daily. So I mean, it's just what a better option would that be? I'm sure you agree.
No comment.
Yeah. So anyway, let's see. Any more questions from people? Sorry, I'm not going to talk any questions about personal problems.
Yeah, none of that.
Any thoughts on Spearcast? I'm not sure what that is either.
Spreecast.
Spreecast.
I think they're talking about Spreecast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another product that if you lined up the features side by side with Blab, you'd say, hey, this has all the same features. Why is one working and the other not? But of course, there's a certain bit of magic dust that you got to put on it, in the same way where you give me all the same ingredients, you give a chef, he's going to cook a much better burger. Yeah. And so for us, we try not to look at other platforms to say, oh, what are their features, and get into a feature race. In my view, the only competition we have is ourselves. So there is no competition. It's just ourselves. We're more likely to just get distracted or lose focus than we are to be killed or hurt by another competitor.
Let's see. I can't scroll down for some reason. How many people does Blab employ right now?
There are 15 total people at Blab, and about 12 of those are on the product or engineering or design side. So that's a small team that's building it. We're trying to stay small in our team and our headcount as long as possible. So we have a rule, which is we won't go above 30 employees. So that means that every employee's got to carry their weight, and actually we want to optimize for the most creative problem solvers we can, instead of throwing more bodies at the problem. I think we've seen that just because a company has 2,000 or 20,000 employees doesn't mean it's any faster or more productive than a small startup. In fact, it's usually the opposite.
Yeah. Are you guys working any other projects, kind of in this space?
That's like asking a mother who has a newborn child, are you picking up any hobbies right now? No,
that's right.
We're focused on the baby.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And
do you or any of your teammates or team members, do y'all consistently use Blab, or do y'all host?
You're just tuning in, this is searchtalklive.com. We are a digital marketing podcast. We're here every Tuesday from 3:30 to 4:30 Eastern Standard Time.
We are sponsored by the Robert Palmer family of companies. You can check out robertpalmercompanies.com. A lot of cool and interesting things for you, a wide range of companies, services, and products for you to check out. robertpalmercompanies.com. Definitely shout out to them for powering Search Talk Live.
Yeah, and you can listen to past shows at searchtalklive.com.
Yes.
And you can tune in with us. We don't normally do Blabs, but we figured since we're talking to the co-founder of Blab.
So we have Mr. Shaan on with us. We will blab. Can you hear us now, Shaan?
I can hear you guys now.
Okay.
Awesome.
So my question was, are you or your team members, are y'all pretty active on Blab? Do y'all pretty consistently or host anything, but do y'all use the platform pretty consistently?
Yeah, put a 1 in the chat if you've seen me either watching, just watching your Blab.
There it goes. It's taken off.
Yeah, I've seen, I saw the one you did at the web conference in Ireland. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so I use it. I watch. I try to host, regular shows.
Awesome.
Because look, how will I know what to build if I don't know how to use it myself?
Exactly. Yeah.
And maybe my use case will be unique, but at least, I just don't understand people who don't use their own product. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Or it makes sense why those products suck. So I try not to fall into that trap.
Oh, that's a good question. When can we have analytics?
Well, you have analytics in a small way now, right? So if you scroll on your Blab replay, you'll be able to see how many people watched it live, how many people watched the replay, how many people shared, who shared.
Yeah.
If you need more detailed analytics, that's something I would email ideas@blab.im and let us know what you're looking for.
Okay, Emil asks, aside from shared revenue with publishers, do Blab the company Do Blab the company has a monetization plan? We really want you to succeed and last as long as the web will last. Okay,
well, I appreciate that. We do want to last to the end of time.
Yeah.
We're lucky that we have private funding, so that today we don't have to think about monetization, and we can go for the next couple of years just with our private funding, and then hopefully by then we've built our audience to a certain scale where monetization actually makes sense. My goal is, there's several platforms out there where you can pay to use some of the tools, but they're really just tools, and we want to build a network. Right? Today, people come because the tool is really simple, it's fun to use, it's easy to use. Down the road, a year from now, you should be pushing go live on Blab, because that's where you get an audience. That's where you find people who actually want to watch you. And so up till now, we're just subsidizing to the point where we can build a network.
Approximately, I don't know if you want to give this information, but approximately how many users currently do you have right now?
Well, we can't say that. I just like to say that, there's
a lot.
There's more that can fit. I don't know. Pick your favorite stadium or something.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. Ask Shaan to come to my Sports Blab tonight. Oh.
All right, I'll be there. Smash TV Radio.
There you go. There you go. You're a big sports fan, aren't you, Shaan?
I'm a huge sports junkie.
Very
yes.
nice.
So
went to Duke.
It was a big deal for me. Yeah, I went to Duke. It was a big deal for me to have ESPN come on and start using the product. And now, when they get interested, a lot of others get interested as well. So I want this to be the place where when the game ends, when the game's on, before the game, there's people around the clock talking about that stuff, because I don't get that today with what's on TV, or specifically to the teams that I'm interested in, or having the players join and not always just a talking head TV analyst. That type of stuff interests me.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, you could have like 3 players and you
Yeah,
you do an interview there.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I have another question here, and we have screen share capabilities in the future.
We're going to make it easy for you to drop in content. So right now on Blab, you talk to people. And in the future, you'll still talk to people, but you might be able to talk to people about something. You may be able to show something or watch something or see something, so that it's easier to have stuff to talk about, to have context where the whole audience can see what the heck you're talking about. So we're working on different ways that we'll be able to do that. And you should be seeing something shortly.
Very cool.
We got a pretty interesting question, and this was kind of one that I wanted to ask. Well, and I'll paraphrase it a little bit. But have you seen anybody use the tool in an unexpected way? Like you were like, "Well, I didn't think it could be used like that." Something of that nature.
Totally. I mean, what's the craziest examples? I mean, there have been fundraisers where people do like a telethon, and they've raised thousands of dollars just by entertaining the crowd and having a good cause. And as people come through, they donate. And in one square, they just had a counter of how much money that they've raised.
Oh, that's awesome.
Or, there's a teacher who he teaches at a community college. And what he does is his students are actually pretty advanced. So they're only 15, 14 years old, but they're taking classes at the community college. But what that means is that their parents would have to drive them to office hours if they wanted to hold a study session.
Right.
So what he did was he went on Blab and held the study session, so the students wouldn't have to ask their mom to drive them. They could just watch and tune in from home and ask questions, call in. And so he was using it as a kind of virtual office hours. So there's been all kinds of stuff that we only predicted 1 to 2% of what we see on the network today.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome stuff.
Okay, I guess there was a request here. I don't know. We'll just throw this one at you real quick. Would it be possible to show on the screen the time that each Blab started?
We've talked about this. We said in your best interest, we're not going to show you how much time you spent on here.
We don't want to know. Yeah, we don't want you to know how long you've Blab.
Discourage anybody from getting off.
I saw somebody. So one of my favorite things that happens on Blab is people celebrate their Blab birthday. So they celebrate their 100th day. So I saw a Blab going on that said 100 days on Blab, it's like days of productivity lost. Like it was just, they were celebrating the fact that they've, taken a hit in terms of productivity by being on here. So right. I don't think we're going to show time for you for all of our sake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're listening to Search Talk Live, sponsored by the Robert Palmer family of companies. You can visit robertpalmercompanies.com. For more information there. And you can listen to Search Talk Live every Tuesday, 3:30 to 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. And you can get past shows at searchtalklive.com. But Shaan, I think that, where do you see Blab in the next, let's say, 2 years?
Yeah.
Out of beta? Still in beta?
Well, I don't know. Gmail was in beta for 5 years.
Right.
Our product's definitely better than Gmail, so maybe 6. No, I don't know. I want us to have more viewership than popular, cable TV channels. So
right.
I'm targeting TNT because they know drama, and that's who I want to be bigger than by the end of this year.
Nice.
Very nice.
Very cool. Any other questions?
Good stuff.
Let's see. We got some.
Oh, that's a good one. Would you consider having the live political debates on Blab?
Of course.
I would love that.
That would be awesome.
I think maybe not Trump, but maybe Bernie Sanders would be the type of person to hold a town hall on here and right. actually rally his following. So I think it might happen. Whether it happens during this campaign or the next, that's just it's a matter of when, not if. If they were smart, they would use this, right? Where else would they be able to rally thousands of people from all the different cities,
right.
and on command from their own room without securing a venue and security and all that stuff? So obviously they would have to put themselves in the public limelight and let people ask questions or type in the chat what they actually think.
Yeah.
But the politicians who are unafraid are the ones who are going to benefit from those people. So we'll see.
Could you handle that kind of traffic?
we would have a few all-nighters, but I think we'd be okay.
Let's see. I'm looking at the other questions. Let's see. Bear with me 1 second. If you have questions, guys, type it in the chat.
Yeah, send them on in.
Do /Q space in your question, and it'll pop up on the screen. Let's see. Is there any rumors that?
Let's see here.
Is there any truth to the rumors that you're planning on running for president in 2016?
Yes, I can confirm that is true.
We got breaking news.
Yeah. You heard it first.
You heard it first here. Very cool.
And
I know you're pretty, you got a lot of things going on and kind of your background. Are there any other programs, organizations that you are a part of that people might not know about, or if people are just finding out about you that you can share with them kind of a little bit more about your background?
Sure. So in terms of other organizations, I'm a big supporter of Charity Water, big fan of what they do. I had the good fortune of being able to go to Africa with them, go to Ethiopia, and actually visit their projects. So I can say firsthand that they are legit. That what they do is a admirable, noble mission, and also very unique from a business perspective. If you actually look into how they've been able to gain so much traction in such a short amount of time as a different kind of nonprofit.
Yeah.
And more than anything else is being different, right? So I'm a supporter of anyone who does things differently. So it's not an organization; it's a way of life. And I find people, I find groups, I find companies, I find students, anyone who's decided that they're going to play the game by some different rules, or they have some different ways of going about things than most people. And so that's what I'm all about. If you are doing things differently, I don't care what field that's in, I don't care in what way, but let me know, because that's what inspires me. That's what gets me excited, is people who go about things and think about things just a little bit differently.
Very cool.
And it was just pointed out to me that I haven't been recording this Blab.
Oh, very nice.
The show's recorded, but
yeah.
The Blab is not.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a noob, guys.
Still getting used to it.
Yeah. And which niches do you see really growing on Blab?
At the start, we had a lot of people who were marketers or other live streamers, which is natural. They like adopting new social platforms. They like being heard. They have opinions. But that really extends to any group. So whether it's education, whether it's sports, whether it's finance, one of the biggest blabs in the last couple of days was a group who loved Shakespeare, and they were reading and discussing Shakespeare, and they had thousands of people who were interested. So it's very hard to predict what works and what works well.
Very cool. We do have a question. How does the platform decide which blabs are getting put on the homepage and which are not?
It's algorithmic, so we try to pick up signals on what's interesting what are people engaging with the most, which, there's several signals that go into it, and then not everybody sees the same thing.
Yeah.
So what's first for you might not be first for somebody else. So we try to, as much as possible, personalize it.
Gotcha.
All right, guys. Well, Shaan, I really appreciate you being on the show as a guest.
Yes, thank you so much.
Like I said, you can download us on iTunes. You can listen to us on Spreaker or searchtalklive.com. You can catch us on Twitter at searchtalklive. And let's see, that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Shaan, we really appreciate you coming on, man. This was an awesome hour, a lot of great insight and information, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day and speaking with us.
Yes.
Cool, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. Thank you.
Search Talk Live is a presentation of the Robert Palmer family of companies.